we go. Hey everybody, it's Jerry from Bullshit Corner. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to remove the lifters and the camshaft from a Jeep 4-liter engine. If you're going to reuse the lifters, you don't want to use the method that I'm using, because when you grab on the side of the lifter with a pair of pliers, you're going to leave some damage behind. So you're going to have to find an alternative method. This is just the method that I'm using to get them out of the scrap engine. So let's get to work. Alright, so there we go. We got all the lifters out. And this is the hole that was bad. Then inspect the camshaft on that when we pull it out. There's some of the tools I use. Pair of pliers. Of course, a 5-pound magnet. Another pair of pliers. And to get the lifters out, basically what I did, I'll grab a lifter. Yeah, what I did, because since this engine's scrap, if you're going to save your lifters, you obviously want to do a different method. But when I would use the magnet to pull it up as far as I could, I grab onto the side, but you just can't pull the lifter straight up because the oil that is still lubing it creates kind of a vacuum and will prevent you from pulling it up. The best way to do it is to twist it left and right, and you'll find the lifter comes up really easy. There's the camshaft there, and it's held in place by 2 Torx bits. So in theory, I should just be able to remove those Torx screws or bolts, remove that cover, and the camshaft at this point should just slide out. Alright, so here's the cover plate here that rests on the camshaft, and those holes would be to supply and drain the oil from the end of the camshaft itself in order to give it proper lubrication. And once you remove this plate, all I did is I stuck the camshaft bolt back in, and now I gotta pull this out, so it's a little difficult with one hand. Just give me a second, I'll yank her out. So now I just want to show you some of the lifters, nice and close up. There we go, even the back side. Everything. These don't look all that bad for almost 300,000 kilometers on it. They look pretty good until we get to the one where the push rod broke. So you can see on the bottom of the lifter right there that this lifter got smashed and it got dented in. So now that I got to this part, I am leaning more towards that the valve had seized up, and that's what caused everything to break, because we've got the lifter, the push rod. The only thing we haven't taken apart yet is the head to see if the valve is seized inside, but it's leaning more and more towards that as I see it now. Alright, so here's your camshaft here, and this gear right here, depending on what kind of 4-liter setup you have, your distributor will be set off this, or that distributor module for your DIS spark plug system will be connected to that. Like I said, it all depends what kind of setup you got. Now this is the camshaft lobe where the lifter broke, and it might be kind of hard to see in the video, but you could see how much it's worn. Like, look how small that lobe is, right? And I'll turn the camshaft and you can see just how tall that one is. Then come back over here, and then you can see just how much that one wore down, and you can see, I'll try to get to it. So yeah, you can see the grooves in the metal where it wore. So right now as it stands, with all the damage, you got a push rod, we got a lifter, we got a camshaft. There's no way that this engine would have been worth fixing. Like right now, the costs to rebuild this engine would have been way more than buying one used. So that is the camshaft though. Get another closer view. This is the end. This is going towards the front of the engine. Like I said, that's the camshaft lobe where the lifter and push rod broke. These would be like your bearings. They're not really like a turnable bearing. It's like a flat bearing where it uses an oil wedge to lubricate it. And then all the way to the front, and that's your camshaft bolt right there. But there you go. It's not very exciting. Alright, now to recap, I've removed the lifters and the camshaft. Once you're at the position where you're ready to remove them, it should take you about no more than a half hour. The lifters, depending on your engine, could be easy, could be hard. They're a little bit harder on mine because my engine sat outside for 4 months getting weathered. Now, if your engine was being used recently and you go to remove the lifters, most likely the lifters will pull out just by using a magnet. But of course, in my case, everything's starting to get a little tight, so it's a little bit different. All we know so far is that I noticed a push rod was broken. I thought, okay, that might be an easy fix, put a new push rod in, but that's never the case. As we tore down the engine, we learned that not only is since the push rod is broken, the lifter is broken, and the camshaft lobe is severely worn. We haven't got to the head part yet. The head's going to be in another video. The next video in this series to come is going to be the crankshaft and pistons, and then the head last. But I'm not ruling it out, but I'm probably almost certain that a valve has seized up in the head, and that's what caused it to break. I've been saying this before, but now that's what I'm more leaning towards. But anyways, I'm going to end this video with this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, like and leave a comment below. And I hope these videos on tearing down the engine is giving you some insight to what makes this engine tick and what makes it run.